Hi, if you are watching right now, this is the replay. We are no longer live, but welcome. I've had a couple of new followers to join my page, and I just wanted to let you know that this is previously recorded on TikTok and uploaded here on YouTube. I cannot change the way that it was filmed vertically, so unfortunately it won't be a full screen for you. And I apologize about that, but unfortunately there's nothing I can do. This morning I am going to be working on a mini zip around wallet as well as an Alyssa crossbody bag. This is a custom order for Miss Kathleen, so I'm going to wait for my TikTok friends to jump on and we will get started. Hey, Just Mammy, how was your weekend? Hey, Deanie. Hey, Cindy, how are you? How was everybody's weekend? I have got to say this to warn everybody. I watched a movie this weekend. I can't remember the name of it, but Idris Elba was the president, and it was about a nuclear war. And I just have to tell you how absolutely angry I am about the ending. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. I mean, it's a great movie up until the last 3 minutes. You made it, hey. I wish I could remember the movie to like warn everybody. Great movie, absolutely horrible ending. Somebody tell me what it's called. All right, Dee Dee, Just Mammy, this is a custom order for the Kathleen. If you see her, do you mind posting her comments for me? I'll go ahead and show you guys what we're working with. Good morning, this is first time here. Welcome, Crafty Mom. Thanks for joining. So she wanted to do a, thanks guys. Hey, LK. She wanted to do a set and incorporate a picture of her dog with paw prints. So she sent me this picture of her two little puppies, and we're going to have it on her wallet. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. She wanted it just on one side and then the full paw prints on the back. Hey, Michelle. So this is going to be the wallet, and then her Alyssa, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. She wanted, again, the full paw prints on the back. Oh, Kathy, there you are. And then this is going to be the front of it. So she wanted it full panel instead of like the bottom coordinating vinyl and then the top picture, as well as boxing the corner to give it a little bit more depth. So we'll work on that. Let's go ahead and do the Alyssa first. How was Thanksgiving? It was good. Yeah, this is the mini zip around wallet. So she's going to have a crossbody bag and then a mini zip around wallet to match. It's going to be adorable. All right, so let me get everything set up. This is the zipper. Let's go ahead and prep our zipper first because that's pretty easy. So we're going to flare open the zipper. I grabbed the zipper for the zipper on wallet. I usually just go down between 3/4 of an inch and a whole inch. Let me grab, oh, it's on my cutting table. I was gonna grab my leather pen just so you could see it a little bit better. Happy Monday. Did everybody have a good weekend? I'm gonna find that little mark I made, pinch it down, and then just pull up the back side. 3/4 of an inch, it usually lines straight up. Sometimes I'll do an inch, depending on how I'm feeling that day. And then that's what it looks like. Beast of No Nation, maybe? Possibly. Lots of football. Possibly Deanie. That sounds right. I know, I'm pretty sure it had Nation in the title. Hey, Nina. I'm glad you can make it. I watched a little bit of football yesterday. The Giants had an off week, which they've been playing terribly all season. So I haven't really been as invested. Did you watch college ball, Just Mammy? And we're just going to sew this down. Today is the end of her life. We'll throw her away. R.I.P. Let's see. First thing I did this morning, dropped in coffee in front of myself. Oh no! Oh no! I'm so sorry that happened. Watched football all day yesterday. Morning greeting. Power outage at work. So home for me. Congrats, Deanie. I did. It was awesome. My husband is an Ohio State fan, so he did not have a very good Saturday night. He was upstairs watching the game, and I just heard a lot of stomping. All right, so that's sewn open. I'm going to go ahead and hit my sides with the lighter just so it doesn't unravel. Hey, Sewing Cherry. But I live in Indiana. I have never personally really gotten into college ball. So I'm not terribly familiar with all the teams. Bears fans here. We did have a good night. Oh, did y'all win? I'm usually on the sports, but like I said, this weekend I just didn't. I had so much going on. I had to do some yard work yesterday. I'm in UK. What are you making? I'm making a crossbody bag and a zip around wallet. Okay, let me do a little bit of math in my head. Stand by. All right, I'm going to measure where the zipper ends. No, unfortunately. Oh no. Sorry. I know the feeling of having a losing team. Oh, shucks. All right, so anytime I cut my zipper, I like to hit it with my lighter just so it doesn't unravel, because it will. This is going to be our zipper in, so all I do is draw a line down the center. Put a little piece of tape on either side. The tape's gonna hold it in place. You do not need to use tape though. You could just fold it over and add a couple of clips, which I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Hi, Stacy. They've been doing well, but rough yesterday. Last play where it was intercepted. That always sucks. So if you don't have tape, you can just fold it over and stitch it down. All right. I just want to hold everything in place. Once you get going, it's a little bit easier. New day, new bag. I know, right? I feel like my last 3 lives, they were all new styles. I had the tote last week. I had the char this weekend, and then Alyssa. I'm just sealing those threads. All right, so that is what our zipper looks like for our crossbody bag. The only other thing that I need to prep is our strap connectors. I'm just gonna put a piece of double-sided tape down the center, fold it over, and then stitch down each side. It doesn't necessarily have to be the center. I wanted to check. I grabbed some new D-rings. I just want to make sure they'll fit, and they do. What bag are you working on today? Just came on. Hi, Diana. This is the Alyssa crossbody bag. It's a custom order for Miss Kathleen, and then we are going to be doing a mini zip around wallet to match the crossbody. And then tomorrow, speaking of new bag, who's this? Tomorrow I have a custom order for a backpack and a notebook. And we'll be live tomorrow at, I think 11 a.m. Please, what type of leader? I think you mean leather. You may have meant leather. This is vinyl. This is faux leather. So I just cut that in half. Gonna slide on my D-rings, fold it over, and I'm just gonna do a stitch just to keep this together until we need it. We don't need this until the last part. What do your backpacks look like? I don't think I have any online. I think I'm sold out of all of mine, but this is a Denver backpack by Swoon. If you just Google it, you should be able to see pictures of what it looks like. It's a really unique style backpack. Nice backpack. I know, it's been a while, right? Hey, Erica. All right, so here are our crossbody strap connectors. I'm going to set these aside and we're gonna go ahead and put the bag together. Kathy, did you want a name tag on the front of it or did you want a charm on your zipper? Happy Monday. This is a Juki 1181. While I'm waiting to hear from her, I'm just going to center my zipper and stitch that down. I'm in the middle of making a grip and zip. Oh, cute. Charm, sure. Let me grab a couple options for the charm. All right. So let's call this A. This will be B. And then this will be C. So A, B, C, which would you prefer? I'm gonna go ahead and sew this on. Can someone pin her comment for me, please? All right, that's done. And then now we're gonna go ahead and add one side of the lining. So this is what our lining is looking like. One side is just a plain piece of fabric and the other side has a zipper pocket. We left the bottom of the pocket open because we're gonna sew this bag inside out and we're gonna use this to turn it right side out. See? This one right here, right? So I'll just start with just the plain lining. Clip that in place and then sew it down. Yes, okay, perfect. Put that over there. Getting that pull out of the way, stitch down a little bit, and then I'm gonna close it up. And then keep going. And then we are going to open it up, flip the back around, and do a top stitch. I like to line up my bottom pieces, that way I know everything is nice and straight. Don't want any problems. And the reason why, so this is not centered, we're going to reduce the bottom of the bag to box the corners out. And so if I were to center this, when we lose that, measurement at the end, then it would actually be close to the bottom. So I moved it up a little bit higher than it normally would be just because we're going to be boxing the corners. So I just wanted to, Kathy, let you know in case you're like, well, why is that not centered? It will be at the end. All right, we're going to top stitch. And then do the exact same thing for the back. So that's what it looks like. Inside lining. So we're going to grab the back. We're going to lay this right side down, get it lined up, and then start sewing. how to, okay, good. What are you making the dogs look so cute? This is a crossbody bag. It's a custom order. I think I started a little bit too far down. I noticed that these sides aren't lined up. You can probably see a little bit better right here. So they're not lined up. So I just started a little bit far down, which is no problem. I'll just get those stitches out of there. Easy breezy. Get it all cleaned up. And then we'll start again. Hi, Dawana. There we go. All right, let's do this. Let's get it lined up, add a couple clips. I want to get these little tiny pieces of thread out. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're going to add the other side of the lining, which has that zipper pocket. Get that lined up, clipped in place, and then sewn down. Get my zipper pull out of the way. Now we're going to open it up. I want to make sure that that side is pulled down so everything is totally open. I'm going to line up the bottom pieces together, clip that in place so that we can top stitch. So if you have this pattern, there's actually two pieces for the front. If you wanted to make the whole pattern with one piece, you would just use the inside lining pattern piece and cut two for the outside and then two for the inside. All right, let's top stitch, make sure our pocket is out of the way. And that restart is how we know we're getting quality. Thanks, Deanie. There we are. All right, that's it. Now we're gonna put everything together and unclip. So you want to open your zipper. I usually leave about 3 inches. And then we're going to line up our outside to our outside and our inside to our inside. I want to first make sure I unzip this, because remember, we're going to be sewing this inside out. We're going to use that pocket to turn it right side out. Before I do that, let me go ahead and just add our little attachments. I'll just baste them in place, so I don't have to worry about them shifting around when I'm sewing everything together. Line this one up. Okay. Now we're gonna connect everything. If I wanted to buy one of the flat bags, could you add one of your pre-made credit card panels to it? If you're talking about a bag that's already on my website, those are already made, so I can't add anything to them. If you wanted to customize something and add a credit card panel to the inside, I can. The custom order sign up is available in my Facebook group called Butter Bags. But everything that's already on the website is already made. I can't add anything to it. I bought a $15.91 and it's being serviced and excited to see if it will do. Oh, cool. Is that an industrial type of sewing machine or like a semi-industrial? I'll go back and look. Sure, no problem. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is info@butterbags.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just don't leave me on red. Somebody messaged me a couple days ago asking for help with some pattern that's not even mine. And I did. And I didn't even get a thank you, which they still may reply. But I'm happy to help any way I can. It's an old single. Oh, cool. I've been tempted to buy an old singer. They come across my Facebook marketplace all the time. My husband would probably kill me if I try to bring something new in this house, though. I made sure the zipper pouch this week. I don't want domestic out of vinyl. Wasn't good. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be made on a domestic. It's really just dependent on the materials that you use. There we are. Alright, so now what we're going to do to box our corners. So normally this is where I would end the sewing process, turn it right side out, and the bag is pretty much done. But she wanted her corners boxed. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in this little pocket. I'm going to line up my seams. So I want this seam right here to be right over top of this seam right here. And the easiest way to do it is just put your finger in that corner. You can pretty much feel, if you're using vinyl, you can pretty much feel where they line up. I'm gonna add a clip here. Let me trim my corners real quick. I also need to do an extra stitch on that connector. Don't let me forget. They were nicknamed the workhorse of their time. Yes, you can find good. I know. I see them all the time. I really want to buy one, but I don't have anything singer, so I know like bobbing cases, like I would probably have to invest in getting that. Both of my sewing machines, pretty much all of my sewing machines are Juki, and I've got a lot of extra stuff hanging around for those. Are you getting snow? We're getting a little here in West Virginia. We did on Friday/Saturday, but not today. It has been overcasted all day today. I'm working in a bakery now doing the cotton with stiff infusing. Oh, good. Yeah, I think I've made that as well. Yeah, that's a great combination to stiffen it up some. On that Shar bag that I made Saturday, I used foam on my vinyl, but what I was thinking about doing is I also tried one using Decaville Light. I didn't really like the feel of it. The foam is great, but foam is expensive. So what I think I'm going to do on my next one is one layer of Decaville Light and then one layer of fusible fleece. That way I have like this soft plushiness to it, but it's not as thick as foam. Hey, Janice. All right, so now what we're going to do, now that we have that clipped in place, is we're going to, on each corner, we're just going to measure up 1 inch. This is 1 inch wide. And we're just going to draw a line, and that's where our stitch line is gonna be. Just like that. And we're gonna do the same thing on all the corners. That way the inside and the outside are exact same. So just go up 1 inch, draw a line. Hi, Farida. Do the same thing here. I'm gonna open up my seam. Sorry, you might not be able to see it the way that the bag is folded. What do you call a flat bag? Oh, I don't call it. It's called shar shar. A flat bag. That's cute. I might. Hi, Derek. Thanks, Deanie. Thanks, Just Mammy. That's a cute name for it, though. Ugh, okay. Go up 1 inch. Make a mark. All right. Now let's sew all of our marks down. I'm going to open up my seam so that way everything lays nice and flat. Sorry, you might have a hard time seeing it. I'll show you one second. It's white thread, so you might not be able to see it, but I just sew right over that line, and then I'm going to wind up trimming this down just to get rid of that extra fabric. So I'm just going to go around, do the same thing for all 4 corners. And then instead of the traditional crossbody strap, she actually upgraded hers to a vinyl crossbody strap, and she added a shoulder strap. So Kathy, I cut out your crossbody strap. I didn't know what size you wanted for the shoulder strap, so I figured while we were live, we can walk through on the sizing. That might be a little bit easier than like sending you pictures like we did to design your bag. All right, last corner. There we are. Just trim everything down. And then we're going to reinforce those crossbody straps. Then we're going to turn this baddie right side out. So the entire weight of your bag is going to be held by your crossbody strap. So I just like to reinforce it. Uh-oh, the thread snapped. Reinforce it. Even though it's a limited weight that you can get in this bag because it's only so big. I never know what people put in their bags, and I don't judge. My job is just to make it work and make it last for as long as possible. All right, let's turn this right side out. Oh, I'm going to trim this down a little bit. So I'm just going to push and roll. So that's what we just did when we boxed the corners, and that's why it's so important to make sure that your seams line up when you're folding them down, just so you can't really tell on the outside. If it's off just a little bit, I promise nobody's going to be looking at the bottom of your bag. But just taking a second just to feel that seam. gonna get everything pulled out. We're gonna close our zipper pocket. Kathy, is this the size that you were looking for? I can make it a little bit wider if you wanted to. It would just come up a little bit more. The more we make it wide, the shorter it will become. But this is what it's looking like now. Thanks, Janice. But I can make it a little bit shorter. It will also become a little bit more narrower on the bottom. Before I sew up the zipper pocket, just let me know. That's the last step in making the bag. Let me close it so you can see. Let me add the Shar isn't available for sale. So that's not my pattern. That pattern is from Saya, S-I-A-H Swag. I'm not sure why you did that, Heather. Kathy, are you good with the size? I don't know if I missed her reply. While I'm waiting for that, let me go ahead and switch out my thread. We're going to make her crossbody strap, which she wanted in black vinyl. Yes. Yes, you're okay with the size, right? Just gonna swap this out for black real quick. Hopefully I have enough. Eek, that's gonna be close. That's gonna be close. All right, I just rethread everything. Un momento. Uh-oh. My thread just got stuck on the bottom. Hi, Tina. Good afternoon. All right, let me get my bobbin in. Get this out of the way. So here's our crossbody strap. She is already prepped. Did I just start? No, I'm just finishing with this bag, but I still have a wallet to make. So hang out with us. This little, it looks wet, but it's just the tape. The outside is fine. Oh no. She wanted it a 1/2 inch wide, or yeah, a 1/2 inch wide, which I don't even think that I have the hardware for that. I made this 3/4 inch wide, so hopefully that's a good size. Where did you get your charms made with your logo on it? So the one that I just used, gosh, I got that maybe years ago. I don't even have the supplier that I used. I've used a couple of different places. I know that I have, I can't think of it off the top of my head or I would just tell you, but I do know that I have a TikTok video under supplies, I believe, where I show exactly where I got them from. So short answer, I don't remember, but it is referenced on my TikTok. I don't get any, I'm not affiliated with them at all. So it's just my honest review. Can you make a pattern on the strap cuts you do on the end? I already have. So I have, if you go on my TikTok page, underneath the playlist, there's one that's called tutorials, and I do one for how you can cut the bottom regardless of what size you're making it. All right, we're gonna sew this down and pray I have enough bobbin. You're welcome. All right, let me get all my settings right. I don't want any problems. Just gonna sew in folds. It's so much easier when we come up this side because we don't have to hold anything or fold anything. I can't never get it right. I need to practice more. That's all it is. That's all sewing is just practicing, learn something new, practice it, learn something else new. Every single person started not knowing how to sew. Just remember that. All right, before I come back up, I'm just gonna back stitch to secure that edge, and then I wanna just double check my bobbin. Practice, yes. Ugh. I don't know. I'm not gonna chance it. Let me just wind a new bobbin real quick. It's just not worth it. I probably had enough to go back, but all right, give me a second, guys. Let me just wind this bobbin. All right, it's gonna get a little rowdy in here. Good stuff. I'm just gonna get this threaded up and then we'll go back. I stopped using the same guide. So I usually only use it when I'm making a Tiffany and my lines have to be, my stitches have to be right on top of the other one, but straight lines I'm good with. Seam allowance I'm pretty good with. So yeah, I just use it for the Tiffany bag just because I have to stitch one row of stitching, fold it over, and then stitch right on top of that same row. There's no way I'm that good. I don't know very many people that are, but That's what I use it for. Do I have snow on the ground? No, it melted all on Sunday. Let's see. Custom charm bags. Oh. AI is suggesting topics now. Hey, see you next time. Have to run. Bye, Cindy. Okay. I usually just hold my hand and it just butts up against my finger, and that's how I sew a straight line. Okay. Just gonna cinch the little threads. Grab our hardware and get it together. I used to work on Sarah Lee's sewing sweats. Shirts, hoodie, Jikki is a great machine. It is. You are not lying. All right, let me grab some rivets. Let me grab my hardware. And my hole punch. And my rivet press. All right, so first we're going to thread our adjustable buckle, go down the bottom, up through the top. Get that lined up. We're gonna poke through so we can add a rivet. That's a perfect width. Oh, good, I'm glad. I made it as small as I had with the hardware that I had. I cut this if anybody was interested. I cut the width of this strap 2.5 inches, which makes it 3/4 of an inch. Set that. I'm going to pull it nice and straight. I don't want it twisted up. And then I'm going to add connector on one end. And then we're going to thread this back through. So through the top, back through the bottom. Double check, make sure that everything is nice and straight. We don't want it twisted. I'm going to pull it down just a little more so that way I can add my other lobster clasp. Fold that over. Punch through the center and add another rivet. And then set it. Let me put all this. Okay. Kathy. So you ordered a crossbody strap and you ordered a shoulder strap. However, if you were to leave this like this, you could actually use this as a crossbody strap. So if you want to do that, I can just refund you for the price of the shoulder strap. If you want a completely different one, I can do that too. But so this will extend to get larger, but if you just bring it all the way down to make it as smallest as possible, it will act like a shoulder strap. And then you can expand it all the way out and make it nice and long. Sorry, that's getting caught in that zipper. can make it, what am I doing? You can make it longer. Okay, whatever's easiest for you. Either one's fine. I can make you a second strap, or you can use this one. Here we go. I was wondering what in the world I was doing. So you can adjust it and make it longer or smaller. Like I said, I can make you another shoulder strap if you'd like. If you want to think about it and just email me when we get off live, that's fine too. All right, so that is your crossbody bag. Let's go ahead and make a matching wallet. I'm gonna set that aside. I'm going to, oh, you know what? I did not close my pocket shut. One strap is plenty. Okay, good. So I'll go ahead, once I get off, I'll go ahead and refund you for the other strap. Let me sew this closed. That would have been a tragedy. And then we'll switch over to the wallet. There we go. I was just gonna ask if you did that. People usually catch me before I catch it, so I'm shocked. And I think the only reason why I remember that is because I switched out my thread to black, and I was like, before I switch back over to white, I want to shut that zipper pocket with black thread. And that's the only way that I caught it, because I'm gonna switch back over to white for the wallet. But I normally don't. I normally don't catch it. All right, let's go back to white. I notice a lot of time people go through here to get to their bobbin. And I just never have, and I don't know if there's a right or wrong way. Let me put this in. I usually just feel up underneath my machine for the bobbin. Thanks, Just Mammy. We're all asleep on the job today. I know. Maybe they just do that to look through it. I don't know. All right, let's put this up and away. I know I've had this view the last couple times that I've been live, but tomorrow we'll go back to our regular scheduled view. I just have had no motivation to do anything with my hair or put makeup on. Thanks, Terry. All right, we're back. So here is the matching wallet. So this is going to be the outside. This is going to be the inside. It has a small change pocket. I went ahead and prepped that. These are to keep the wallet from opening all the way up. I prepped that. And then here are our credit card slots. I also prepped that. Let me grab one so I can show you guys, if you haven't seen it, what they look like. I don't see my minis, but I'll show you a full size. It's the same idea, it's just mini. So there's a zipper that goes around when you open it up. So for this mini wallet, you have 2 slots on either side. So it's pretty much half the wallet. You have a little change pocket in the middle, and then these parts right here are actually our sides to keep it from opening all the way up. The way that we stitch it down, we're gonna have a little slip pocket behind our credit card slots. So that's what we're going to make this exact wallet, just the mini version. Tomorrow's 11 a.m. Eastern time, yes. All right, let's go ahead and work on the interior. Cute pet cam. Oh. way higher. There has to be a way to turn that off. All right, we're going to stitch down the center. Down the center on this side. Take off these. This right here is called craft text with a K. And it gives the sturdiness or stability of the wallet, so it makes it really stiff. And so all I did was just glue the fabric over that craft text. All right, now what we're going to do is add our credit card panel. So we're gonna add one on this side, and then we're gonna add one on this side. Let me grab my ruler. I also need to grab my large clips. Just want to make sure that's nice and centered. I'm going to add the clips over top just to hold that in place. Same thing, we'll do that one next. Going to trim them down. Add some regular clips. Hi, Christy. Did you make the credit card slots? I did. Yep. I actually made them this morning. I have quite a few that I'm working on. Whenever I make credit card slots, I usually make at least 4 or 5 just to keep on hand so I don't have to make them every time I make a wallet. It's just easy to assembly line it. Hi Rebecca, what was the name of that bag you just made? It's called the Alyssa crossbody bag. That is my pattern. It's available on my website. And then I just altered the pattern, modified it by using the inside lining pattern piece as the outside as well. Stitch that over a little bit more. Get it centered. Have you saw the new video from YKK? They've created a new zip format. You need a special. I haven't. A new zipper format? And you need a new machine to use it? That doesn't sound like a very good business decision, unless I'm missing something. I think I'm actually gonna scoot these up just a touch. Does anybody know that girl, that little girl who played on the movie Man on Fire? The little girl that he was protecting? Anyways, whoever that is, she came out with, there's a new movie with her. And we just watched it last night. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was kind of scary. I think it's on Prime, but it was a really good movie. Okay, I thought it was. I seen the boxing on the bottom. Yeah, that was the other modification I did. All right, let's go ahead and stitch these in place. I am terrible at remembering names of movies. My husband usually finds them. So we sewed along the side and the bottom, but because we did not stitch the top of it, that's how we get that little section behind the credit card panels in case you want to stash something. Dakota Fanning, yes, you are correct. That is her name. If you're looking for like a new suspenseful, scary movie, there's one out. it was great. Shucks, I think I moved this over, it didn't center it good. So let me just pop out those stitches. Man, both items. All right, let me scooch that over. The craft text you're using, do you allow for seam allowance or do you sew through it? The craft text I sew through. There's no seam allowance on the craft text for this pattern. Okay, it's just, all right, we're good. Yeah, you're sewing through your craft text. It's all the way up to the corners or the edges. So you definitely need, at least I've seen people make these on a semi-industrial machine. So you'll probably need at least that. I haven't heard of anybody using a domestic to sew this, to make this wallet. All right, so when they're folded up, that's what it's going to look like inside. I'm just going to trim this little excess fabric for my credit card slots. We're going to glue our little flaps on here and then set that aside to dry. Monday of all Mondays, right? All right, Just Mammy. Have a good one. Okay, that's what we're looking like. Now we're going to glue our little flaps like that and like that. We are using Fabri-Tac by Beacon. Just gonna add a little bit to the edges and then we'll clip everything in place. And then we're gonna set that aside, give it a minute to dry, and add our zipper to the outside. There we go. So we're going to line it up with the pocket, tuck it under, and then fold it. I like to look on the back to make sure it's good, and then add some clips. Hold on, let me get this puzzle piece. There we go, just like that. And then I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing on all of the sides. It's craft text, yep, it sure is. It's craft with a K. I do so many of these wallets. I buy it, they have a 10-yard bolt that they sell on Amazon. And I usually get a 10-yard bolt, but I know that they sell it in, I believe, 3 yards or like a yard and a half. All right, last one. Line it up, scooch it under the bottom, flip it over, add some clips. Okay, so that is our interior right now with our zipper pocket. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and we're going to add our zipper to the exterior. So if you missed it in the beginning, it's going to wind up looking like that's the front, that's the back, and then the zipper will be going around the other 3 sides. All right, let me tighten up my tension. We're gonna start by sewing. You can't really tell because I added an extra line, but this is the center of the wallet. We're going to sew, just like we did on the inside, we're going to sew down the center. All right, let's go with a, let's do a 4.5 inch stitch length. We're not gonna back stitch, instead we're gonna pull our threads through and knock them off. So this part of the, oh shucks, not again. Good thing I didn't back stitch. This part of the wallet, the reason why we're doing our little stitches in the center is because this part of the wallet is not going to get sewn through on either one. So we're doing kind of like a false stitch here. And the reason for that is to hide our zipper at the very end. That might not make sense if you haven't seen me make this before, and it will when I'm done. All right, so I'm just going to pull my threads through, knot them off. Where I started and stopped. That's like the 3rd mistake that I've made today. As long as it's not a big mistake, I don't care. I'm okay with making 10 small mistakes that can be fixed instead of one big mistake that I'm just going to throw the whole project away. Last one. Okay. Now instead of clipping our threads, we're just going to tape them down. That's what the pattern says. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to pull them kind of tight so that there's not any kind of slack. Just going to add a piece of tape to the center. Clip off the excess. There we go. And then now we're going to go ahead and make our mark along the outside where we're going to add the zipper. Same. Are you still doing some quilting? I haven't in a while. No. I actually had a custom order quilted bag last week I did offline, but aside from that, I have not. Where's my pen? I I'm working on a quilt, but I am crocheting it. And I think I'm about halfway done. I've been working on it for like a month already. But if you want to see it when I'm done with this order, let me know and I'll go upstairs and grab it. I usually work on it in the evening time while we're like watching TV or catching up for the day. I feel like at nighttime I have to keep my hands busy. And instead of like getting on my phone, I've been crocheting. Do you ever do that sweatshirt? No, I haven't done that either. My life, I have so much to do. I actually bought 3 plain sweatshirts. Every time I go to the store, I grab another sweatshirt because I'm like, man, I can't wait to get it done. And I come home and I just never did it. But I have it sitting on my counter right over here. I look at it every single day. Oh no. Oh no. I messed up. So I sewed this right here, but it actually needs to be right here. So I was right the first time, and then I'm gonna have to redo those stitches. but that's okay. We train for this. I was looking at it when I was putting those lines on, and I was like, man, that doesn't even look right. No fear. Hey, new here. Do you give info where to get the materials for start making purses? If people ask. So my vinyl that is custom printed, that's really the only information I don't share. But if you have a question on where I buy anything, I have an Amazon storefront where I link all of the stuff that I use. And if you have a question on something specific, aside from where I get my custom printed vinyl, I'm happy to answer it. All right, let's try this one more time. Let me just do a double measurement just to make sure. All right, bam. Okay, good. Easy mistake to fix, yes. Bless your heart, I have those days. Oh my gosh, it's been a Monday for sure. You're welcome, Callie. Why custom print is not told? Because I've done a lot of research to find my supplier, and I recommend, especially if you want to do this as your business, to put in the work, try a couple of different things, because what I like as for vinyl, there's so many different vinyls. There's different backings, there's different thickness, there's different methods it's made. So I like this particular vinyl, and I tried quite a few before I settled on this. So just because I like it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else will like it. So I always like to suggest to try a couple different places, and you can find them just by Googling it. So it's not like I have a secret location in like Antarctica that nobody can find. But I definitely recommend to put in your own at work, try different things, see what works best for you. That makes sense. You were the second person I heard state that. Yeah, it's just a lot of research that before I found the place that I use, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying different vinyl. And again, one that I didn't like might be perfect for you or perfect for the next person. So it's always good just to try different things. And never have one supplier, because if something happens to that supplier, then you're out. Okay. Hi, Dubs. All right. No more mistakes. Onward. All right, we're going to add our tape. This is where our zipper is going to get sewn on. So the tape is just going to hold the zipper in place while we're sewing it. Sorry, Kathy, for all the redos. Thanks, Sherry. Some people like that advice, some people don't. They just want the name of my supplier, which I get. No hard feelings. Okay. Let's grab our zipper. I'm going to mark the center. On the back. No problem. I think you're done. Thanks, Kathy. Thank you for your rip on using Waywack tape. Much more. Yes, I agree. Thanks for your rip. Your tip. Yeah. Yes. I love Waywack. I use them for my zippers also. I get a zipper by the yard. And I used to buy from Etsy, but it's definitely a lot cheaper to do it with Waywack. All right, now what we're going to do on one half, we are going to take that tape off. We're going to line the center of our zipper to this center line. That way we know it's centered on both sides. which after I added my pull, it looks like it's just off a touch. There we go. So I'll add that, push it down into the tape. Gonna add a clip on the bottom so I don't accidentally rip off my pull. And we're just gonna follow that line that I made all the way around. So I'm gonna leave some open, press down the sides first, and then go back and push that corner in and get that lined up. There we go. Using zipper tape for the Alyssa, do I add an extra two? No, you don't have to add. The pattern tells you exactly how long to cut the zipper, even with flaring it open as well as, oh, I see what you're saying, because it doesn't have the end. So if you're using a zipper by the yard, just from tail to top, whatever the measurement is fine. So you don't have to adjust it if using a zipper by the yard, no. All right, there we go. So that's pressed down in that tape all the way around. Remember how we did those little false stitches right here? We're gonna start at the top of that false stitch. We're gonna go all the way around and stop at the top of this one. We're not gonna back stitch. Instead, we're gonna pull through our threads. That way it just looks like one continuous stitch. All the way around. Just reposition that. So that's the stitch that we just did. Again, it started in that first stitch, so it just looks like one continuous stitch. Let's pull through our threads. And then we're doing the exact same thing on the other side. Take these off. That's what we're looking like. Flip this down so I don't accidentally sew over it. I have done that before. And then again, we're going to start with that mark that we made, line that up on the center. Push that into the tape all the way around. A little bit more tape left out. There we go. That tape is also good because you can just reposition, just lift it up, reposition. There we are. There we go. Clip that down. Give it one more press. And then we're going to sew. So from the top of this stitch all the way around to the top of this stitch. We're not back stitching, instead we're pulling our threads through. Kathy, did you want the same charm on this or did you want the smaller one? The same charm as your crossbody bag? Came up out of the tape, which is wild because that never happens. There we go. Same charm. Okay, cool. All right, we are going to knot this off. And then if you guys noticed, I used double-sided tape on the center when I taped those pieces of thread down. And the reason why I did that is because I'm going to take off that backing to tape down these extra threads. I just started doing it. I wouldn't call it a game changer, but you don't have to grab any more tape either. So those threads that I just cut off and knotted, just gonna pull those right through. There we go. All right. I always like to test my zip up game before I finish it, just in case there's any problems. We can fix those now. Hi Arlene, how are you? There we go. So we're gonna add the interior, but essentially that's what the outside is going to look like. All right, let's open this up. Get these pressed down. Add another piece of double-sided tape. Flip those out. I'm good. Thanks, Dawana. Thanks, Arlene. We're going to use this double-sided tape to hold the interior and exterior together while we sew everything. That's going to be the last step. So I'm going to set this aside. Remember, we just glued our interior, these little flaps down. So now what we're going to do is stitch them down. Where can I find this pattern? This is called the Mini Zip Around Wallet by Maggie55. So if you just Google it, you should find it. It's not my pattern. I have to get, oh, hey, Frida. A lot earlier because I always miss you, but I've been here. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I haven't seen you in a really long time. I was actually starting to worry about you. I know the time difference from here and Hawaii is crazy. Thanks, Deanie. All right, last one. Okay, so now we're just going to take off the tape backing. We're going to center this in here. I like to look at it from the sides as well as the top and the bottom to make sure it is nice and centered. Just come up just a touch. Got clearance there, clearance there. And then just push it down into that tape. I want to see the final look. I'm almost done. All right, so now what we're going to do, remember the little half C stitches that we did right here? We're going to start at the top, come around and stop at the top, and then we're going to start at the top here and go around and stop. Something little black right here. Okay. I'm gonna go nice and slow. There we go. So that's the stitch that we just did, and that is the stitch underneath that we just did. And we're going to do the same thing over here. There we go. All done. So again, we want to make sure, remember how I said it gives it a lot of structure. It's really stiff. Make sure everything zips up and closes. It does. Now what we're going to do is sew our sides together. And then now we're going to sew our zipper pocket right in between these two pieces. So I'm going to slide it, like to grip it at the bottom and pull it in a little bit. That way it's bumped up right against that row of stitching. Clip that in place, and then we're going to go ahead and stitch that in. So the first row of stitching is to connect these two pieces, and then the second row is to connect our zipper pocket, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. So pull it over. I like to grip it on the bottom, bump it right up against that first row of stitching, clip that in place, clip the top in place, and then sew it down. Can I sew this on a domestic? I haven't heard of anybody who can make this on a domestic. Maybe somebody in the comments have heard it something different. Dan DeGreat. Thanks, Deanie. It's quite thick, so you would have to have quite a few modifications, like a super thick needle on your domestic machine, maybe a Teflon foot if you're using vinyl. I personally would not make this on a domestic sewing machine. All right, so that's that. And then the last step is just to hide our little zipper ends. And remember how I said that this part of the wallet that only got that one false stitch, the inside and outside are not stitched together there, and we're just going to tuck this in between the interior and the exterior. But, oh shucks. Put that clip so I didn't accidentally do that, but it's okay. Ugh. There we go. Hate to see that happens. Kathy, this is a mini zip-around wallet. Thanks, Deanie. Just want to make sure everything lines back up. It does. All right. So we're going to cut a little extra off here. We don't need all the zipper tape. Same thing here. And just hit that with a lighter just to seal those ends. Charm. go. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and tuck the end of the zipper in between where the lining and the exterior meet. It might be a hard time seeing this just because it's inside, but I like to pull the pocket to the side so I can get down in there. Give that a little bit of a pull back. I don't know if you can see that. Pull my zipper up. I like to fold my zipper tape, grip it with a pair of pliers, and then just tuck that in between and then shimmy it down. I might have to do some moving around, but while this is open, I like to do the same thing over here. Just grip one of these, tuck it in between. There we go. You don't want it bumped up down in there. You want it to lay as flat as possible. And then we're just gonna add some glue down inside here at the very end. I wanna first check, make sure that everything is lined up. Tuck this in just a little bit more. But that's why we don't sew the center part of the wallet, so we can tuck this in. Let me clean off my glue. Because I don't want to get any glue on my zipper. Get that to the bottom, put that inside. There we go. And then do the same thing over here. Gently. There we go. So once I close it up, I can't open it back up, but that's what it looks like, Kathy, all done. And then let me grab your bag so you can see it with your bag. And then once I get off of here, I'm going to refund you for that extra strap. Yes, so if you want to make this set, this is called the Alyssa. It's by Butter Bags. You can just Google that pattern. This is called the Mini Zip Around Wallet by Maggie55. You can Google that pattern as well. And I'm going to, if you missed any of this, I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel, and in the description I'll link where both of the patterns can be found. Okay, good, Kathy. I'm so glad you like it. Thank you for letting me do it for you. I'll get this out in the mail first thing in the morning. My mail's already been picked up for the day since it's 1:30. All right, that's all that I have. I will be on live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be making a backpack as well as a notebook. You too, Janice. You were gonna show us something. Oh, my crochet blanket that I'm making. Yeah, hold on, let me go grab it. So I've been working on it. It's a granny square and it looks like this. They're like little flowers. And so I've made quite a few. I've lost count of how many that I've made, but I make one at a time and then I keep making them, and then I do a row of 12 and then I sew those all together, or not sew, but crochet those all together. Let me get this out of the way. I don't want to get it dirty. And then I just make rows by crocheting them together. and I am up to 7 rows, I think. This is my 8th row. It's going to be on a king size bed or queen size bed, so it's going to be quite large. But that's what I do at nighttime. I make these little squares and then I put them all together. Thanks, guys. But yeah, this is my nighttime project. I was into quilting. I made a couple of quilts for like friends, and then I just wanted to switch over to crochet. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Thanks, Deanie. It's actually quite easy to do. I found a tutorial here on TikTok of how to make it, and they come together pretty quickly. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Nancy Bear. All right, I'm going to jump off and prep the backpack for tomorrow, and I will see you guys at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Bye.